Hey, the second section on that page. We're dealing with this dilemma. We're saying that binah comes from chokhmah, and it's able to decipher chokhmah and bring it down to binah. And the question is, chokhmah and binah are categorically apart. One is, so to speak, categorically above the other. Chokhmah is above binah. And this being above is an essential being, not that it has more understanding, more recognition. It's a different kind of recognition. Chokhmah recognizes the etzem, and binah recognizes the mitzias of things. Completely different focus and different orientation. How then does chokhmah end up in binah? This is the question that we have. So we attempted to explain it by the presentation, by the meaning of reduction of oir, which we discussed. What does it mean to reduction of oir? We pointed out reduction of oir does not change the essence. I hope you understood that. I gave this. We have this moshel that if you're in somebody's home, whether he is present in the home or not present in the home, whether he greets you or he turns away from you, you don't need to logically figure out that this is somebody's home, because you recognize it at first glance, because you recognize its essence, the reality of it. That's what it is. That's what chokhmah is. No matter how distant he is, it is, the reality of it still is there, and it doesn't change. Therefore, this is not a way to explain how binah comes into chokhmah. I must add in this discussion, yes, you can always apply binah and so to speak, and apply a logical explanation, but a logical explanation has to have a value, has to have a purpose. If you see it in front of your eyes and then apply logical explanation, it's inadvertent, it's completely out of whack. So therefore, to apply a logical explanation when you have the chokhmah, the effect of the chokhmah doesn't make any sense at all. The binah cannot exist coincide with chokhmah. It cannot. Therefore, the question is, how does binah come from chokhmah? However, the inyan is, for it is known, the chokhmah binah nikro ayin v'yesh. The chokhmah binah are called ayin v'yesh. The chokhmah nikro ayin. Chokhmah is referred to as ayin. Commission calls for chokhmah ayin timot. And the chokhmah ayin. Ba'binah nikro yesh. Commission calls for ayin v'yesh. V'im keina thus, the chokhmah is ayin and binah is yesh. Therefore, it comes out that his havos habinah meha chokhmah, that the binah coming forth from the chokhmah. Who bivchinas, what kind of his havos, what kind of process is employed, and what is occurring when binah comes from chokhmah? What occurs is bivchinas yesh me ayin. It's a yesh from ayin. Which means that even after the yesh comes to be, its source is ayin. It cannot be traced back to its source. Again, I listened a lot to our classes. I just want to make sure, you pointed it out, but I want to make sure that we realize the principle. Ayin clearly is a very elusive concept. There is no way of explaining ayin in worldly terms. What is meant by ayin? Where does it come from? And what are we trying to refer to by saying ayin? Again, I went to a moshe. We explained the other day that a baby, a child, can be comforted by a nurse, by a nanny, and so forth. But never will it feel the calm and the fundamental calm the way it is in its mother's hands. If you focus in and try to identify the difference is this. In a nanny's hand, he knows that he's in a nanny's hand. He trusts the nanny. He trusts the nanny. In a nurse's hand, he knows it. When in his mother's hand, he is held up by AYIN. There is no explanation.
Press 1.
There's no explanation to that relationship. It's not a procedural thing. This is the mother, of course.
Wait, that's to illustrate.
A baby does not relate to its mother because you know this is my mother, because I was born from this mother. It's It's taken for granted completely. That's why it supersedes the service, the support of a nanny, of a nurse, or anything else. Yes, I'm sorry.
I was left with the impression that yesh me'ayin is something for nothing.
That's right.
So now you're saying, you're comparing the ayin to the relation between the baby and the mother?
Right. Now we come on and use you. How is the baby related to the mother? Is the baby related to the mother by explaining that this is my mother because I was born from this mother?
No, the baby cannot explain.
What?
The baby cannot explain.
No, it doesn't want him to explain. If it can explain, it's not the mother. Then he can relate to a nanny. What is the difference between this relationship to a nanny or a mother? How come it feels completely different in mother's?
This sounds like what we usually say about Chokhmah, namely it's a dynamic, direct, clear channel acknowledgement. Exactly. Fine. But how's that telling us anything about ayin?
That's not ayin. Ayin means there's no content, there's no tangible element that brings it to your mind.
Uh-huh.
You understand?
Yeah.
So ayin, excuse me, ayin. Okay, let me take this to the next step, which is the real thing. The reason there is such a thing as ayin. Please understand. Yes, we said the baby feels totally differently in the mother's hand. The real reason is because the mother bore the baby, they gave birth to the baby. So why is it ayin? The mother gave birth to the baby. Even if the baby does not understand it, but still there's a reality there. Here is the key to this whole ayin phenomenon. This union that the mother can bear a child and give birth to the child, this is not within the mother's capacity. It is not the mother's doing. The mother herself does not understand what happened over here. All she did was allow it to happen. This is what we refer to the whole time. This is the emes is in there. I don't contain it. I don't know what it is. I'm not claim to ever be able to understand what it is. That's the ayin. The ayin, this is present in the world and the whole creation, because everything in the creation is a godly creation. The creation cannot do anything for itself. Everybody expects me to say, okay, those idiots who say that, it's really mind-boggling. Say the world created has such evolution. There is no reason for there's no basis for it. Okay. So that binah is yesh and chokhmah is ayin. If binah is yesh and chokhmah is ayin, how does yesh come from ayin? It's a unique kind of a creation, because ayin and yesh do not correlate, do not meet. It's what's called bibchinas yesh me'ayin. It's a unique kind of creation. This unique kind of creation is really in itself a miracle. No less than the baby being born from the mother. B'chinas yesh me'ayin. How, in fact, this is still a conscious thing, is chokhmah and binah. What enables that one should go from consciously be a human being from chokhmah into binah? What enables it on the human level is this hidosh made all emes. He does not understand how things happen, but you know there is an emes that supersedes all worldly limits. Chokhmah is part of emes, binah is part of emes, and chokhmah being binah into being is also the effect of the emes. Ultimately, the emes wants it to happen. This is why it happens. There is no direct interrelation and transfer of one from the other. This is the yesh may ayin. Who affects the ayin? The one who creates the whole world. One who enables a mother to give birth to a baby. This is this word b'chinas yesh me'ayin. V'hainu, which means to say, she'ha'ayin the chokhmah, on the third line. Okay, maybe we'll come. The ha'ayin the chokhmah, she'ha'ayin the chokhmah, he b'chinas helem l'gaba ha'yesh binah. That even though this is yesh, this is chokhmah and binah, we know, we are aware of the chokhmah, we are aware of the binah, but their process, it's part of our conscious knowledge, and yet it's b'chinas helem. We have no idea how we got to this yesh. The zehu ha'hefresh, which in fact points out the difference, brings out the difference between ayin the yesh l'ila v'yol, between the relationship of ayin yesh, relative as opposed to ila v'yol, there's also a correlationship and a process. The ila v'yolu cause and effect hu she'ha'olol ma'asik es ilose. This is when the olol comprehends and understands its ila, and knows how it's derived from that ila. V'al is having ha'il. Because of its understanding of the ila, this is how it comes to be from the ila. And the ila is what substantiates his own presence. to give us an extremely low-level motion, where we can we can kind of put this in perspective. You have a job. You work in somebody's business. Comes end of the week, he gives you your check.
To remain on this call, press 1.
You expect this check to come. As a matter of fact, you work in order to get that check. Although, he has to make a decision to give you the check. You did not create that check. You deserved it, but you did not really create the entity itself. Nonetheless, you can rely on it, and you go to work a whole week because you know a check is going to come. Why? Because you understand how the elo, how the business benefits from wants you to be there. It's the business who had hired you, and this interest, this benefit that the business gets from your service, this is what you understand. This is what gives you a sense of reality of your own being in the business, because they actually need you. They're benefiting from you. So the Olu understands its presence in the Elu. This is what gives it a sense of security, so to speak, of reliance. And this is how it comes to be from the Elu. This is Havamin Elu. V'hainu, which means, we have to understand these words, which means to say, Shalidei hahasogo. I'm going to use the same moshel, so I'm going to say these words. Alidei hahasoga, as a result of the comprehension, Shema sigas ho'ilo, where he understands the ilo, harionim to the mitziyusoi. This is how it comes to be in his mitziyus. Coming back to our very simple moshel. The check comes from him to you, becomes a mitzvah unto itself. You can take the check in your pocket and you're going to deposit it in your account. Totally dissociated to its source. Comes from a mitzvah. However, you understand what's going on in the mind of the employee. You understand the benefit that he has from your services. You understand how you are present in his plan. And because of this understanding, you feel comfortable being in a separate mitzvah. I am a separate mitzvah. I have my own home, my own life, my own bank account. But it will be replenished because there is a benefit of my being in the business, in the separate materials. Because of his understanding of what benefit the business has from him, this is how he can then go back and become a chase unto himself and be comfortable with it. This is the principle at the simplest level, Elo v'Olu. As a result of his understanding of the Elo, of how he is in the Elo, that's how he becomes a Mitzias, a real Mitzias, a separate Mitzias unto himself. He can become a Messias by himself because the Elon needs him. I will give it to him, give him a check by himself. He will not insist that he lives in my home and eats in my table. No, I'll give you a check, because as a separate Messias, you're beneficial to me. But yesh me'ayin, okay, if you answer from the bottom, but yesh me'ayin hu adarab. Yesh me'ayin has a completely opposite interrelationship, opposite understanding. Sheha'ayin misali min hayesh, where the ayin conceals itself from the yesh. She'ena ma'aseh yesei, where the yesh does not comprehend the ayin. Going back to our moshel of the baby, what is it that begets the baby? That lets the mother carry the baby and give birth to the baby? It's totally elusive. Regardless of the process or the physical process, we know this is not what is actually occurring. The physical process does not give a neshama to this baby. He gives him physical pleasure. It doesn't create a baby. The baby is a living entity. The mother cannot give him a neshama. The ayin, and here's the important point to understand. You have an employer and an employee. You have a mother and a baby. How do you approximate the relationship between these two sets? Between their own setting. The baby, it's true, he was born from the mother. Once it's born from the mother, it can appreciate the mother, there is love and there is affection, all kinds of different things. But it becomes a total entity unto itself. It acquires its own infinity. I said the mother cannot even provide. It outlives the mother. Not only it outlives the mother, its qualities and its intellect and it can supersede those of this mother. It's yesh me'ayin. It's a complete yesh unto itself, and there is no basis for its being coming from its source. An employee and an employer, no matter how gifted the employee, the $100 that he got from the employer does not become 1,000. It's 100. He has to be wise how he spends it and so forth. Yes, it gives him health and supports him, but it doesn't make him a human being. It's a yesh me'yesh. So yesh me'ayin, in addition to the fact that it's me'ayin, but the yesh is a total yesh. The principle of the parent and the child, we speak about, one of the principles of child rearing is to give the child a sense that he is an entity unto himself. Yes, you give him guidance and so forth, but he is a full-fledged individual. And ultimately he has to carry his own responsibility for himself. Not to you. I told you the story I had in the house. The mother complained to me about her children. She says, Rabbi, I'm doing my best. My children are not succeeding. I said, what do you do that you're not succeeding? She says, I'm constantly telling my child, if you do this, mommy will be very happy. Mommy will love you. Mommy will, if you do this right, mommy's going to be. I said, what are you doing? You're stealing God from this child. You're not giving a child a means to breathe and recognize itself as a responsible entity. Mommy will be very happy. Big deal. In the terms of relationship with the employer and employee, it does fit. Absolutely, it does fit. So it's a completely different thing. It's yesh miyesh. This is yesh miyai. Okay. Okay. The last words on the second line from the bottom. Val shum zeh nikro ayin. Due to the complete concealment, self-concealment, or the ayin conceals itself from the yesh. Due to that's why it's called ayin. The Rebbe explains it's not ayin. It's the source of the whole koyach of the yesh. But it's ayin sheine musa al shem sheine musok, because it is not comprehended. It is like completely oblivious to it. He knows it like with hadah. Moida lo emes. The child knows it comes from the mother. He has no idea how. The mother doesn't know how he got the child. The similar inyan is reflected in Chochmah Bina. This is a phenomenal statement. Sheho'ayin the Chochmah misalim, that the ayin of Chochmah, again, what means ayin of Chochmah? That in Chochmah we are aware and we know in Chochmah we are aware and we know a truth that does not need substantiation. A godly truth. Literally. This ayin of Chochmah, a Chochmah knows and it doesn't know how come it knows and doesn't need to know how come it knows. Moida lo emes. It's an emes. It's beyond understanding. And this Chochmah begets the binah, and it conceals itself from the binah. And the reason it conceals itself from binah because binah could not come into being if the Chochmah is begilui. Binah is supposed to be a yesh. If the Chochmah is binah, it doesn't give room for a yesh.
The binah coming from Chochmah, we said earlier, it's a unique and miraculous event.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's a degree of fit.
Of what?
That they fit each other. There's a suitability. Yeah, binah needs to kind of look to Chokhmah and see what's...
No.
If not, then there's a sort of a discontinuity, just like nothing, then something,
Well,
anything.
the baby comes from the mother. Is the continuity the baby and the mother is because the baby understands how it comes from the mother? Does the mother understand how he begot the baby?
Wait, in this case, the baby being binah sort of resembles,
Yeah,
lands
the
up
yesh.
resembling. It is a yesh mi'ayin, but lands up having a resemblance to the mother. DNA.
No, but that's the
Personality.
binah is similar to Chokhmah in that
It is.
respect. Yeah,
It
but
is.
it's not a derivative. It's not
No.
dependent.
Right. I guess I'm just wondering. Right. It's not derivative, not dependent. I guess there's nothing more it could be said than that it's sort of a unique, miraculous event. It's not a process. It's
That's
not a
right.
derivative.
What is the meaning of the miraculous event? The meaning of the miraculous event is, going back to what we discussed, in the introduction to the whole thing. It's a godly creation. What's a godly creation? What's the meaning of a godly creation? A godly creation is that it's wholesome and complete. Wholesome and complete, it means that this ayin of Chokhmah can devolve into a yesh and would not cease to be. In other words, inherent in this ayin is the possibility of this becoming a yesh. Coming back to the moshel of the baby, inherent in the koiches that the parents have, which are divine koiches, inherent in that is that they can beget a baby totally separate from their own mitzvahs. A complete entity. Ayin the Chokhmah, these are less words. Ayin the Chokhmah mis'alei me'bechinas abin. It conceals itself from the element of bina, so that bina ultimately does not know where he got this awareness, this knowledge. Although it sees it as it knows it's true. But how, it doesn't know. Coming back to a simple illustration, a table, as far as being is concerned, the table is a board and four legs. Does not see a profound human element in it. It's a presence in the physical world of board and four legs. Although this board and four legs represents a Chokhmah concept. And these board and four legs are built and they're useful, they're mamish useful, they have utility, but it's not the utility that begot them. Begot them was a Chokhmah concept. And then he comes into the world, he says, oh yeah, it's useful. Completely different orientation, different realization. to the extent it's useful. Even if you have the table out in the field, it's also a table. From the binah perspective it is, but not from Chochmah. Chochmah is our table, is only in the home. That's where it fits. This is it for this morning. Have a great day.